We arrived at Marble Mountain at approximately 11 a.m. on Wednesday morning, and as you can see, it was a beautiful day. The weather was very cooperative. There were a number of students there taking lessons when we got there. The students from St. John Central I went in then to get their equipment and get ready to take their lessons as well. The skiers were then divided into two groups, and they were taught the basics for downhill skiing.
all down there together tonight. Come on, baby. Who's you? Oh, Tiny, come in here.
Todd left before we did.
Oh.
Hi!
We're starting to speed up again now.
Take people?
Some it.
She smiles for ya.
Why are you not smile at me?
Oh.
Why is my fly on done?
Yeah, gym pants on, can't be.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Mommy
Mom's
isn't
not gonna be
home.
a bird, y'all.
Mommy isn't home. What a view. Mine is.
You guys gonna ski up, right?
Yeah.
We already did.
It's great coming down. Hey, man, you don't fall down.
That's okay. It don't take a goddamn half hour to get down.
Hey, what's going on, eh?
We're going on a ski trip.
Picture. I'm gonna break your camera.
I say you would. Bad boy, boy. Hey, you don't care, please.
Hi.
Alright. Now, American Funny his own videos. Oh, he looks ugly.
Tell me, tell him.
Look what we're doing. Whoa, look. What are they doing? Oh my god, oh my god.
Very uplifting.
Oh, my poor old stomach.
Thanks to Mr. Warren's connections, we had the privilege of riding up and down the ski lift. As you can see, it was a great view. At 8:30 the next morning, the students assembled at Fisher Institute for a tour of the facilities there.
Has anybody here ever been to the school before? Okay. What we're going to do first is go through some details about the school and about the programs before we venture out into the school. This way we're not disturbing so many classrooms, and it gives you a chance to interact back with me instead of having to shout over 700 students in quarters. So first of all, what we'll do is we'll go through a little bit of the history of the school so you know where we came from. The school is 28 years old. We were opened in 1963. And what happened back then was that the government saw a need to train skilled workers. It wasn't enough anymore just to be taught by your father, even though experience counts, to build a home or mechanics and things like that. The cars became more complicated and things like that. They had to start training mechanics, welders, carpenters, and various trades programs. So that was 28 years ago. Quite a while ago, and as time went on, the labor market changed as well. So not only, you didn't only need carpenters and mechanics and welders and things like that, but you also needed people to work in the computer field. You also needed people to work in forestry, electronics, and things like that. So right around 1975, they started introducing diploma programs. And those are like 2-year programs. So as time went on, 60% of our programs by 1984 were actually 2- and 3-year diploma programs or trades. So we really can't call us a trade school or a district vocational school, which is what we were called. We couldn't call it for most of the programs were diplomas. So they changed our name to Fisher Technical College. Has anybody ever heard of Fisher Tech? Fisher Technical College? Or is it really shown? Quite orange. Okay, we were called Fisher Technical College, or Fisher Tech, for about 1.5 years. Then in 1986, they changed their name to Fisher Institute of Applied Arts and Technology, which is what we are today. There are going to be changes, but for today's purposes, we still are Fisher Institute of Applied Arts and Technology. What you do when you finish high school, you have a lot of different choices. And when the government rearranged the post-secondary system in 1986, they introduced one university, we kept it one university, 3 institutes. So there's Fisher Institute now you have a choice of going to. The Cabot Institute in St. John's, have you ever heard of that one? That's my best. Tell me. Have you ever heard of the Cabot Institute in St. John's? Anybody? Okay. Have you ever heard of the Marine Institute in St. John's? Yeah. Okay. So there's 3 institutes in the province right now. The Cabot, the Marine, and Fisher Institute. Or you have the choice of Western Community College, Eastern Community College, or Central School Community College system. And there are private schools, like my career academy, King Technical College, nursing schools, flying schools. There's so many choices that you have when you finish school. It's amazing. But for today's purpose, we'll focus on what we offer here at Fisher. As you noticed on the sheet I gave you, our programs are grouped into 4 different areas. The first area are technology programs. Here you get a diploma of technology. And the first program you see there is Architecture, Engineering, and Technology. Does anybody have any idea what you do in that program? Architecture, Engineering, and Technology. Anybody want to take a guess? Come on, boy. I don't want to do all the time. Anybody have any idea? Okay. What you do there basically is you would assist architects in designing and planning of homes and buildings and things like that. So what kind of courses do you think would be really important to have at a high school level or junior high level if you're going to do something like that? Math, yeah. If you're designing buildings and things like that. What other courses do you think? How about some of the sciences? Do you think that will be important? Oh my goodness, I've done a lot of these. I've never grouped this part before. What sciences do you teach at the school? How about physics? Do you think physics would be important? Does everybody nod? Yes. Okay, so some of the things that you have to look at when you're choosing your courses in the next few years is that I'd love to do architectural engineering technology. So maybe you put some thought into what courses you're going to choose in high school so that if you decide to go into, say, architectural engineering technology, at least you'll have the good background in math and physics, like you say. That'll make it a lot easier to get in and a lot easier when you get in. That's a 3-year program. We offer the first year. In year 2 and year 3, you have to go to the Cabot Institute in St. John's. Civil engineering technology. Do I ask you, anybody know what a civil engineering technologist is? Anybody want to guess? Okay, so an architectural designs and plans buildings and houses, a civil engineering technologist assists a civil engineer in designing and planning our roads, and our dams, and our bridges, our airports, and things like that. You really can't go in and put a road in anywhere, can you? Somebody gets on a plan and do the surveying and make sure the slope isn't too high, and you can't have roads that are like this, and things like that. So somebody has to go out and do surveying on the area, somebody has to do the drafting, somebody has to do the research and whatnot in the area that you want to put a road through. And that's what a civil engineering technologist would do. What courses do you think would be important to that program? No? Again, you're looking at your math, good background in math, and science. And they say preferably chemistry. So I, again, put a lot of thought into what you're going to do, even though it might seem like a long ways away. You're grade 9 now? So what, 3 years, 4 years before you get, well, I have to decide, I guess, what attend a post-secondary institution, that what you do in the next couple of years may very well help or hinder you in what you choose to do as a career. So it's not thinking that, well, I'm in grade 12 now and it's March and probably I should decide what I'm going to do next September. Now I'm going to start putting some thought into it and saying, well, what might I want to do when I finish? Well, I might want to get into some technology, so I better do some sciences just in case that's what I want to do. And looking at your hobbies and your interests and things like that, but, you know, I really love it in the woods, so maybe I'll do something in forestry and things like that. So taking some courses in level 1, 2, and 3 that actually might help you when you finish. That's a 3-year program. We offer all 3 years here. And it's really neat because the drafting and whatnot that they used to do manual, and you'll see when we go through the school, that they still have these big drafting tables, but also they have computer-aided drafting. So right now we're doing 3-dimensional drafting on computers as well. So it's really neat. Electronics engineering technology. This is a 3-year program. We offer all 3 years. It's a program that looks at communications equipment, and especially computers, because almost everywhere you go around with computers. And it's probably a good source of communications equipment in all aspects these days. As well as satellite dishes, microwave dishes, our telephone systems and things like that. It's a program that, if you decide, like when you get into something and you really like it, and you're really enjoying what you're doing, and you have a lot of interest in it, that a lot of times you find yourself, because you like it, you do quite well in it. If you decided after 3 years of electronics that I'd like to carry on and do a little more here, Lakehead University in Thunder Bay, Ontario will accept all 3 years towards an electrical engineering degree. So you can actually transfer the entire program in the university. And then you do another 2.5 years, and you can become a professional electrical engineer. Which brings up one point, I guess. I should probably tell you there is a difference between a professional engineer and an engineering technologist. When you see, open the window. You actually take your coats out. There is a difference between an engineering technologist and a professional engineer. So when you see the two, they are different things. The professional engineer is somebody who go to university for 6 years, work for another 2 years, and become a professional engineer. They do a lot of theory and things like that. They are the people that when you design a bridge, and the blueprints and things like that, they're the people that sign their names on the bottom of the blueprints. So if that bridge collapses in 2 or 3 weeks' time, it's a professional engineer who takes the responsibility. An engineering technologist would assist that professional engineer in doing a lot of the footwork, surveying and design, drafting and whatnot, so that the civil engineer or professional engineer can do their job. technologies is more practical, hands-on things, surveying, graphing. Environmental technology. Do anybody have any idea what you do in that program? It's never been offered on the island before this year. It's we're the only place on the island that would offer that program. Anybody have any idea what to do with it? Pollution, that's exactly what it is. Every time you turn on the radio or TV or pick up a newspaper these days, there seems to be something about pollution. Whether it be PCBs, toxic waste, oil spills, acid rain. Now, how is this pollution affecting our wildlife, our fish, our water, our soils, our air? There's so much. And you're looking at government departments now, private businesses like Cornwall Bolt Paper and whatnot, taking a real hard look at how are we affecting our environment. So we decided a few years ago that it's probably necessary that we bring in this type of program. And so this past September, our first class started. It's a 2-year program, a 3-year program, and this particular program is a cooperative education program. And what I mean by that is, right now they go to school for 8 months in the first year, and then with the help of Fisher Institute, we will find them career-related work from May until August. Now, during the time that they work, they actually use the things that they're in the entire classroom, they use on the work site. It's monitored, and they have to write a technical paper about what they do at work. Then they come back to school for 4 months, then they go back into the workforce again. Then they go back to school for 4 months, and then they're finished. So you're actually alternating. I don't know what all the work terms in there. There's actually, when you finish this 3-year course, you have 1 whole year of practical work experience. You ever heard of the old syndrome that they say, I can't hire you because you don't have any experience? Then you say, well, how can I get experience if you don't hire me? These are one of the things that we're trying to bring in by using cooperative education. It's alternating schoolwork with work. And that's what environmental technology is doing. In year 2 of environmental, we have only the first year, you go to University College of Cape Breton and Sydney, but you can come back here for your work terms. Any questions? Oh, the mouthful. Forest Resources Technology. As the name suggests, this is a forestry program, and you can work with pulp paper, forestry and whatnot. You look at, going in thinning trees so they grow better, forest fires, spruce budworm, air photo interpretation, where you take air photographs and you can see what kind of trees and how many trees are in a certain area, and things like that. As well as a very large wildlife component. Enough that the Department of Wildlife will accept this program as a background to become a wildlife technician. It's a program, it's 2 years, and if you decide after 2 years that you really enjoyed it and that you'd like to continue further, University of New Brunswick in Fredericton will accept 1.5 years towards a degree in forestry. So you can, again, bring the courses you have here, transfer them to the university, and then further education. Something I forgot to say in environmental. Another year after you do the environmental program, you can get a degree in environmental studies as well. So you can carry your 3 years into university again, which is a great option. If you enjoy it in the woods and things like that, then you might want to look at environmental forestry, because you see them going out with their surveying gear and forestry and hard hats and rubber boots on every Thursday as they head into the woods. They spend about 3 weeks a year in a logging camp and things like that. So if that's what you enjoy doing in the woods and that might be something that you would pursue as a career. For the girls that are here, there's no reason why you cannot choose any of these technology programs. It's not necessary for you to go into secretarial science or early childhood education, unless it's something you really want to do. If you would like to do electronics, or you would like to do forestry, we have girls in those programs all the time. There's no reason whatsoever why you cannot pursue that kind of career. I did a geology degree. I thought it was fun to get waders on the river and hop around. A lot of fun. Now you're gaining more time. Any questions about technology? We'll move on to applied arts. These are all 2-year programs. Again, you get a diploma. Business administration, you see there's 2 of them there. That's because the first year is the same. What they do there is introduce you to the world of business. How businesses are set up, how computers are used, the whole structure of a business. The second year, you decide whether you want to go get a drink. Okay? In the second year, you specialize. You can either go into financial accounting or you can go into retail management. In financial accounting, the best way to describe that is that we've got 2 people who are hired here at school who take care of all the money in the school. Basically, what we're spending, keeping track of things that are brought in and what we're buying, and the other person keeps track of our payroll. So if you find yourself really good with figures and numbers and money and things like that, then maybe that's an area there that you can pursue. Retail management, that's a course that if you'd like to manage a business, or maybe you'd like to start your own business, and that will give you a good background in how managing a business would work. Or entrepreneurship, I think is the word they use now. Too long of a word, we'll go 2 weeks trying to spell it. Anyway, entrepreneurship, you're starting your own business. That course would give you a good background. Business and computer studies. Who here has used computer before? 2 people? Use computers? If you really have a knack for computers and you'd like to work with computers, there's a lot of different levels that you can do. I mean, you could do computer science at university, there's more writing programs and things like that, or this particular course is computer programming or computer analyst. What I mean by that is when you buy a computer, it doesn't know what it has to do. Somebody has to program the computer and put a set of instructions in. And that's what you would learn in business and computer studies. And as well here at the school, for example, we've got a person hired from this course that actually analyzes what computers the school needs and make sure they're all set up properly, they're all linked in and things like that. So he analyzes, by knowing what we need to get done, what computer systems we need. And he might be involved in programming as well. So if you like computers, that might be an area there. Early childhood education. Daycare is a really big issue right now. In the last few years especially, I would say more so in the future, where more women are working. And who wants to leave their children with somebody 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, for the first 4 or 5 years of their life? So daycare, especially in major cities like St. John's and Cornwall and things like that, daycare is in high demand. You're looking at child psychology, the development of the child's mind, development of their imagination, proper nutrition, safety, health. This course is a fairly in-depth 2-year program that will not only train you to work in a daycare, but help you in the supervision of daycare and even prepare you to start up your own daycare, or maybe work with social services or with the hospital in daycare. We have a child center here at the school. I don't know if you noticed, they call it our front porch, but our extension going out in front here. Did you notice it when you came in? It's like a $9 million front porch. So you're all awake. Anyways, one of the things I'm going to expand it is the daycare. And when we go down and have a look at it, you'll notice that it's small right now. We take 12 kids, but in a few years it will be like 4 times its size. So any staff or students who have children, you can put the children into the daycare here, and when you go to school or when you work, which is great. Information processing. Employers won't hire anybody off the street anymore. And you've got fax machines, newfangled photocopiers, switchboards, the one we have in the office right now, like the 7 languages that come up on it. And the phone rings and I kind of look at it and go, oh my God. And there's about 100 buttons on it. And, of course, computers, your modern office settings. And an employer cannot afford and don't want to hire somebody that's to take in for a couple of weeks and train them. He wants somebody who can use all this electronic equipment and use it properly. And that's what you would learn in information processing. Secretarial science, again, you're looking at a modern office with electronic typewriters, which is the ones you have in front of you. They have memories and of all these fancy things they can do, as well as you can introduce to computers and other secretarial duties. And one thing that they do that amazes me is that they do shorthand, which means you can write as fast as you talk. That's amazing in Newfoundland. They actually write as fast as we can talk. But anyways, when you finish that course, you can certainly work in a modern office setting and be a very proficient secretary. The person who just walked in is Paul Smith. He's the student activities person here. What we're going to do is split the group in half. He's going to take half of you and I'm going to take the other half. It's a we're just at the industrial education now. Any questions about applied arts? Okay, you'll see industrial education programs. Here you would get a certificate. These are 9-month programs. Remember earlier when I told you that we opened 28 years ago to train in the trades programs? Okay. When we were called a district vocation school, or have you ever heard of this place called a trade school before? Whatever trade school? Okay, that's what we were. And these are the programs that we taught. Okay? Now they're under industrial education. They're all 9 months, and the first one is bookkeeper clerk. Here you will learn how to work in a small office setting, do some typing, some bookkeeping, some filing and things like that. And not that you can work in a small office. Bricklaying. That particular course is fairly self-explanatory in many aspects of bricklaying. It's probably a good point now to bring up that even though in all of our courses you have a lot of hands-on experience, and especially in these trades programs, you still have your science class to go to, you still have a math class to go to, you still have English classes to go to. So the more of a background that you can get in school now, the better off you're going to be. And even though it says you have to have a grade 8 degree of bricklaying, we have employers who call here and say, I want to hire somebody from carpentry, but don't send me anybody who doesn't have the hospital education. That's what it's coming down to. But even though you might have a bricklaying course here, employers will leave you out. You're going to be like the last ones left in the class of the job because they just won't even interview you. And that's the trend that we're seeing right now. And as well, it's in the workings that in these programs now, I think it's in Stephenville actually, and we're thinking about introducing it here, that to get into these programs in the next few years, you're going to have to have your hospital diploma. So I certainly keep it in mind that in the next few years, to drop out of school or to limit yourself by not taking the proper courses, you won't have as many choices as you possibly can have if you choose the courses and put a lot of work into your high school. Carpentry, that's a rough carpentry course. You learn how to build homes. Last year they built one big full home, and this year they're building 6 small ones, I think. And you would learn like building codes. You'd even know some math, to do measurements, to estimate how much wood you need for a project and things like that. So believe it or not, your math, things like that, will always tie into whatever you do. Construction, industrial electrical, that's to become an electrician to our homes and buildings. They've just introduced computers in this program. So you're looking at using technology in the trades program so they can follow the circuit through and finding where the break is in the electricity and the building or whatnot. Hairstylist, what's happening now is that they're unisex shops, and men and women are getting a haircut in the same place. I mean, women are getting a haircut short, and men are getting perms. Well, men are getting manicures, I'm not sure yet. But manicures, facials, anything to do with perms and that kind of stuff. Now what they've done is they've grouped cosmetology, hairstylists, and barbering together. Because the employers are looking for people who are jacks of all trades. They can't afford to hire a barber and a hairstylist and a manicurist. They want somebody who can do it all. And that's what you do in hairstylists. And they actually have a shop open down here as a shop, and for like $2 you can get your hair cut. And they practice on mannequins for the first couple of months. And they started cutting hair on real people in December. I'm going to wait till about March to go get mine. But anyway, they're fairly good. By the time they leave here, they have quite extensive hands-on experience. And if you'd like to get into that kind of business, certainly give you a good background. Millwright, industrial mechanic. Anybody know what a millwright is? See, that over the shine. Anybody want to guess what a millwright might be? Well, in the fish plants and microhydro plants and pulp and paper mills and things like that, you have big pieces of machinery. They're really shy. Somebody has to make sure that this machinery works, and somebody has to make sure that if it's broke down, it's fixed. And that's what you do as a millwright. work on this big machinery that's going in big pumps. Motor vehicle repair body, that's the dents and rust spots in cars and preparing them to be painted cars. We'll always need auto body workers and roof around all the salt on the roads. Motor vehicle repair mechanical, that's car engines, to become a mechanic and brakes and things like that. GM and Ford both donated 1989 vehicles so that people who are trained as mechanics are trained on modern vehicles, electronic fuel injection systems and things like that. You don't train on like 1950 Corvettes and something like that. You actually be trained on modern vehicles. And welding, that's welding and joining and forming of metal by welding processes. Any questions in the space programs? The last two there are special programs, adult basic education and job readiness training. I can't emphasize enough that now is the time to prepare for your post-secondary education. It's now that you can give yourself a good background. There are programs set up, however, like adult basic education, that if you don't have enough prerequisites, you can take this particular course, and it can prepare you to go into any of the above courses. However, remember a couple of things. That there's a waiting list for these about 2 or 3 years long. And as well, now is the time to start investing in the future. It's a lot easier now to get your hospital diploma than when you get there and you have bills and you want a car and things like that. And job readiness training, that's if you've been out of the workforce for about 20 years and you'd like to get back in and getting a job, a full-time job yourself. So they orientate somebody back into the workforce. And I hope that you guys are going to find yourself in that position. You'll have thought and effort into choosing a career and find a job.
Got a question about the education. Is that less so long? Why don't they start out of school and offer education?
What's happened is it's a self-paced program, and what happens is you go in and you want to start in November when there's an opening, and it might take you 2 years to complete the program. It's a really hard program to monitor. It doesn't start in September and finish in June. It's offered by Western Community College, and it's offered here and things like that. And it's basically, I would say, I can't answer for school. I guess one of the things I guess is financial. It's just,
You got to wait that long, 2 or 3 years, and that's not a change your mind. That's right.
yeah, they have like Western Community College right now, and it's for school program in there as well. The waiting list here is 2 years long. Town Employment Center has to be together as well. It's, I think it's just become, in the last couple of 3 years, you've seen more people come back to get upgraded and things like that. And I'm sure that was called basic training for skill development a little while, even last year. And right now we've changed that part. And I guess it's really hard to expand, and there's, all of a sudden you have all these applications and things like that. It's, for example, I guess the best way to explain is that we get 2,500 applications a year at this particular school right now for a school that was built 20 years ago for 300 people. And right now we have, like, the count, I think, part-time, full-time, September was 844 students. Almost like 120 people on staff. So you have about 900 to 1,000 people going around in the building that was built 20 years ago for 300 people. So it's, that's one of the reasons, I'm sure. And another reason, I guess, is... Yeah, well, the extension on the front was $9.2 million. Yeah. So I guess when the facilities are available, I'm not sure what the plan is going to be. I'm not in the planning department. But for this particular school, it's both helpful.
I think one thing you see with the job readiness training as well is that's the kind of program that as we're seeing a collapse in certain industries across the province, and the federal government is stepping in with some financing. A big part of that financing is in retraining. And so there's channeling people. It's not just now the person who's coming in off the street who's all of a sudden decided that they want to go back to school. A lot of the people that are coming into these places are being channeled in by the federal government. And, yeah, that's right. I mean, that's a demand which has been artificially created. It's a demand that has been imposed on people.
Any questions? I'm going to be giving your instructors some calendars and whatnot, so if you want to know the entrance requirements in the various programs, that's no problem. There's no questions.
You probably want to emphasize on these things. These all these students are in grade 9. And I think they do explain here now. I don't think you're going to get anywhere in without even grade 12. You referred to that a number of times.
Yeah, it's...
I think it's restrictive on these students, and we're trying to stress all the time that you're just not going to get anywhere unless you're going to end up with your school education first.
That's right. It's, I know, I think, Paul, you can probably, or any of your instructors or whatnot, say that if you go for a job now these days, you've got 100 people going for it. And you're looking at people now with diplomas and things like that. So without a high school education, you have people competing for jobs and diplomas and whatnot. It's going to be awful hard. And as well, it'd be really great that when you finish school, that if you plan the next few years and you do your science or your maths, or you finish high school, that look at all the options you have available to you. There's university, there's here, there's private schools and whatnot. And it would be really terrible to wake up, I don't know, at the age of 35 or 36, and you're married with a family, and hate to get up in the morning and say, God, I hate what I'm doing, I can't stand it. And what do you do then? You probably have got a home, or you have a family, and things like that. And it's really hard midway through your life to pack her all up and go back to school. Now is the time to start thinking about what you want to do. It seems like a long ways off, but it's not. It's 10 years fly real fast. Any questions? Okay, so there's 20 students, right? Do you want to add plus instructors? So do you want to take 14 students and an instructor or two? And you want to hit them trade green and
I'll take
I'm not going to be in the movies or what? I think we'll put it down in the movies. Anybody got any questions?
Who's your class size here?
About 15. Yeah, in these particular programs, you have up to 20 in some of the diploma programs.
This is 9-month program?
Yeah, 9. So that's your classmates meeting. Some of the big screens up front. Remember I told you that, like next door here, you'll see manual drafting. Yesterday we got to give a demonstration, actually. These are used for drafting things on the computer. This is called computer-aided drafting. As you'll notice here, this is a thing that's used to be a pencil. Now it's used on a computer. And you actually draw with that thing. And you can do three-dimensional drawings and things like that, but it's all into the computer. And it's really neat. Oh, you have big screens up there. Drafting, and here you'd actually do drafting, and this is like some of these things that were done by students. For example, in architectural, remember I said with designing homes and things? Those are some of the things that you do that's manually done by architectural engineering technology students. So those are the good things. So if you'd like to get into something like that.
If you guys would like to come in and mill around the room, these students are doing a second-year circuits lab. They're looking up transistor amplifier. This lab is used in first and second year electronics, right? Fundamentals of each individual component right on through to third year labs, basic circuit analysis, semiconductor device like tracking, and so forth. If you want to ask students some questions, you can.
Anybody got any questions? Really shy.
You're using whiteboard, huh?
You say this copy, A:, A:.
We don't have a residence, but we do provide you with a boarding list, a list of apartments and things like that. Well, especially in buildings and things like that, they can actually trace the wiring and circuits to a home. And they are to a big building, like this, for example, and they can find the breaker. They actually come up on screen and you'll see it like this, and then they'll zoom in on a red spot. It's a breakage. It's really, really neat.
That's new technology.
Yeah. And especially for high burning and things like that. You're looking at some things on the electrical fuel that are going to be high technology. Any questions? students that are fantastic. We have a lot of stuffed animals and wood samples. We're going to go on tour rather than class. Just one what's in this. Thanks, Rick. And they have like some moose calves that are in bottles and stuff. So it's really neat because there's a wildlife component as well as there's a forest component. So it's too bad we can't do that. Down here is a temporary classroom where we're doing stuff for students. So there's not really anything down there other than classrooms. So that's it. It's really too bad we don't get to go in the lab. We would have enjoyed it.
Okay.
That's about it. So,
After leaving Fisher Institute, the students went to Sir Wilfred Grenfell where they were swimming and diving. They also played a few different water games. For most of the students, this seemed to be their most enjoyable part of the trip. After dinner, the students went on a tour of Sir Wilfred Grenfell College.
and I welcome you all from Virgio. How many of you are here for the first time in Corner Brook? So you've all been here before? My name is Linda Carroll, and you are?
Lloyd Walters. We talked on the phone.
Lloyd Walters. Nice to meet you. You teach all of these
No,
students?
actually, I'm just here with them. The teachers are outside meeting with some other people, I believe.
I see.
But they'll be
Okay.
shorter.
So, as you've all been here to Corner Brook before, how many have people that, is this your first time at Grenfell? First time Sir Wilfred Grenfell here in Corner Brook. So, some of you have been here before? Okay, and what have you done so far? You did swim? I hear. You were skiing, were you? When did you go skiing? Well, you had the best day so far, probably the best day of the whole winter. So that's who bought the weather yesterday. Thank you very much. Well, I want to tell you a few things. I guess the fact that you're here and you're looking around tells me that probably some of you must be thinking that maybe down the road you might be going to university. Anybody got definite thoughts that maybe they'll be going to university? One person? Okay, a few more. When you think about how much you've changed over the last, just think about you're all going into level 1 next year in September. Is that correct? Okay, just think about where you were 3 years ago. Think about the things you liked and what you disliked, who your friends were, the types of things you like to spend your time doing. And you can probably predict that you're going to change that much again in the next 3 years. So even if you're not thinking about university right now, there's a very good possibility that you just might in 3 years' time. I had calls from a couple of students last week, and I had been out to visit them in their school out in Burnt Islands. And they really wanted to go to university, but they didn't have the requirements. And of course, it's too late once you reach level 3 to decide, then I'd like to go to university, and I should have taken this course, or I should have taken that course. But I guess you all know that stuff already. As you're thinking about the types of things that you're interested in over the next few years, it's really good to talk to some people who do things that may be interesting to you. There's nothing like going right to the horse's mouth, so to speak. And ask people, if you think something looks interesting, talk to them. When you finish level 3, of course, you have a number of choices. Nursing school, private institutions. There's the Marine and the Cabot and the Fisher Institute. And, of course, there's university. So, what do you have to do to get into university? What are the requirements? Hopefully most of you probably know that already. You certainly will over the next few years. Take some of those and pass them on. This is a list of the required courses that you have to have in order to get into university. Oh, sorry. know what courses that you have to have through high school. Do you want to put it? Okay. Oops. There you go. Keep those and tuck them away. So all the institutions that we talked about, can somebody tell me what the difference is in the university and any of those other institutions, the community colleges, nursing schools, private schools? What's the difference in the university and any of those other schools? Pardon? Okay, a lot more opportunities. In what way? More courses, probably more different things you can study. Is that what you mean by that? Anybody else? What does the word university mean, you think? Think of the word universe. And I guess that's where the word university came from. Pardon? A whole lot of people. That's right, a whole lot of people and a whole lot of ideas. And the thing is about university, you do learn a whole lot of different things. And unlike any of the other schools or institutions, and they're all fine and wonderful, I'm not saying they're not, but the difference in university is that it will teach you a whole lot of different things along with a professional degree or some specific area that you may choose to study. And that's really the only and major difference between the university and any of the other institutions. So you may be thinking about what types of things that you can study at university. Here's a list of all the programs that are offered at Memorial. And when I say Memorial University, that includes this campus, St. John's, any courses that you may take through the community colleges. And one thing about if you do one course, you can do one course, and if you pass it, you have that course for the rest of your life. So you can build on these courses. Okay? So if you want to do a commerce or a business administration, for example, it will tell you they will take approximately 5 years. Now all of these courses listed, the numbers 1 to 10, except for music, here at Grenfell you can do at least 1 year of all of those courses and 2 in most of them. And of course we have a 4-year fine arts program. Have you been over in the fine arts building yet? Or that's part of your tour? I think you'll find that very interesting. And it's the only place in Newfoundland where you can get a fine arts degree, and that takes 4 years. Okay. Now, if you have over the next few years, as you're thinking about different things you want to, you'd like to explore more in depth, and you want to have some specific questions probably about one of these programs in 1 to 10, and you want to look a little more as to what they would offer, just ask one of your teachers or guidance counselors, and they can get in touch with me, give you my number. You can pass that along, and we can send you out some brochures or information on a particular, for example, if you're interested in engineering or nursing or physical education or social work or any of these areas. I have a short film here. I think we'll stop now and look at that because I know time is running away. It's going to take about 15 minutes.
The students then went on a tour of the Fine Arts Building.
But we'll just go into each room and just see what it is. Okay? This is the School of Fine Arts, if anyone didn't know. It's a 4-year program. I'm not sure if there is that. Just bring it and ask someone.
Well, we're doing two things. So Jared carpentry job between two departments. So Master Carpenter is working with some of the students on a model production that we're doing with Rising Tide Theater. St. John's Theater, and Arts and Culture Center Theater across the street here.
They can't see a whole lot of people here, I tell you, but they do have all the balconies to sit and look on. But they're getting ready for a new production now in another month or so. But this is mainly for the theater art students. They put off a couple of productions a year, actually. Looks okay though, doesn't it? It's pretty hot. They have another balcony way up on the top where you can walk across these catwalks and come in and adjust all these lights, which then they program into the computers, and they can turn it on, and they can turn on a light to be on you or whatever. Just like I suppose. It's pretty big though, isn't it? Let's see if this door is open up here. As you can see, well, Don Wright is the artist this year, or this month, really. If you look around, you can see that they're from his early career. And you look around the room, and apparently he's getting angrier and angrier towards the end of his life. That's what it is. But they have people come up and shows and coffee and tea and, you know, all those things. Pardon me? Don Wright is the artist this, yeah. And they come in, they set up videotapes of interviews and things like that. And people can come in here who's interested and who wants to get some ideas for paintings and things. You know, anything you can see. This is the third year art student, visual arts. And they're doing still life. Very, very, very delicate in here. But sculpturing usually takes place in here. But there's nobody around to do it.
Yeah, some over there.
Yep. They set up all their clay on the shelves and make their designs or whatever they're trying to sculpt at the time. There's nothing really going down up here today. Karate or something like that. And there's a big net that they set up there. It's not there now, and they haul it down. And the instructors shoot golf balls into it just for fun. Everything goes on up here. They do a lot of dryland training for the ski team, for the figure skating team and everything. Exercises and stuff like in the summer when you can't skate and things like that. They train up here over precision skating. They set up the whole team